Hi, my name's Andy. We're here at Dragonmeet 2014. I'm here with Graham Bottley of Arian Games.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for joining us and chatting to us.
My pleasure.
Can you tell us about Arian Games?
Right, we've been going almost 10 years now, which is quite a long time for a small company. We start off with paper miniatures, and we've now got about 170 sets of those on RPG now. About 5,000 individual miniatures.
Okay.
Sold about 45,000 sets.
Wow.
Which is astounding numbers.
Yep.
And our success with those then led us on to the Maelstrom role-playing game, the classic from the 1980s.
Yep.
We republished that and so on. And then the success with that led us on to Advanced Fighting Fantasy, which is sort of our biggest hit to date. We've now got about 9 or 10 books in that range. And from there we've moved on to various other games, Maelstrom Doomsday, and we've got more games on the way.
Oh, brilliant. Let's start with Maelstrom Doomsday. It's an RPG?
It is.
Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Right, it's quite a singular role-playing game, and I think that's a good thing. It's obviously a rewrite of the original Maelstrom, so you play normal people.
Yep.
You're not big heroes who can cleave through 10, 15 enemies in a few minutes. You're normal people. And it's set in 1086.
Okay.
So it's set in the York area. It's the aftermath of the Harrying of the North, the genocide. And you are probably a Saxon, and you've lived a normal, blameless life until something weird happens. You experience something supernatural, and you're ostracised. You're chucked out of your monastery, out of your village, out of your job, and you're going to starve to death. And then your character gets hired by a noble.
Okay.
And this noble says, right, I want you to go out there and investigate supernatural events on my behalf. The reign of King William is not stable. All these events, they're hindering, King William. We want you to go and investigate for us.
Okay.
And you're based on your one momentary supernatural event, you're an investigator.
Okay.
And so it's an investigative game rather than a combat type game.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's a very specific game. You are a very specific character type. But we put a life path character creation system in so that you know who your character is. By the time you get to the end of character creation, which could take half an hour, could take an hour, you know who your character is, where they were born, what they've done, what they've experienced, their high points, their low points. You feel like you know your character.
Oh, brilliant.
And so it becomes a game about who your character is, not what they can do.
Okay.
So it's a very intriguing game. We've sold about 600 odd copies so far in a year, which is not bad at all.
That's brilliant.
And everyone who I know who has played it has said, we love this.
Oh, perfect.
So
that's great. So it comes as a core rule book, and then there's additional adventures to buy?
We did a Kickstarter, which finished, and we started fulfilling about a year ago.
Yeah.
And because it did so well, we were able to include an investigator's guide, which is a player's guide, and the player's guide has no mechanics in it.
Okay.
But what it does tell you is what all of the statistics do, what all of the skills do, what all of the livings are good for, and how being a beggar for 3 years can actually be a positive benefit to your character.
Okay.
Not maybe as much as being a knight or something else, but there are benefits to being a beggar, and this is how. So this is intended so that a player can read the book, they can understand what the game is and what it's about, but without having to know all of the rules and the mechanics and the dice rolls.
Oh, brilliant. That sounds great. So there's advanced fantasy...
Advanced Fighting Fantasy.
Advanced Fighting Fantasy as well. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, Fighting Fantasy is obviously a very venerable license. Steve and Ian are here today. They're doing signings and so on. And Fighting Fantasy books were huge in the 1980s.
Yeah.
80% of people in this room, I think, got into gaming through Fighting Fantasy books.
Yep.
So it's huge. And back in the 80s, they produced the Advanced Fighting Fantasy role-playing game.
Okay.
And it was very, very good.
Yep.
A bit broken mechanically, and I hope Steve and Ian don't see this, but it was a bit broken mechanically, and it didn't quite gel together.
Yep.
So what I did was about 3.5, 4 years ago, I got a license to reprint and rewrite the game. So I've completely rewritten it. We've added in an armour system, proper priests, the sorcery magic from the sorcery game books, and so on.
Yep.
And it's a much more rounded game.
Brilliant.
Very easy to introduce. Someone a minute ago bought one for his 10-year-old son. His son is going to run it for him when they get home.
Oh, wow.
And it's
That's
easy
amazing.
enough that you can do that. But at the same time, I'm currently playing in a campaign event online, and we're up to about 14 sessions now.
Okay,
And
it's got legs.
So it's definitely got legs. It's definitely built for campaign play, but it's easy to pick up and play in 10 minutes.
Oh, brilliant.
So,
are there any more 1980s RPGs you're looking at in the future?
Not at the moment.
No?
Lone Wolf is obviously being done by Cubicle 7, and Dragon Warriors has been done. There's one or two thoughts I have, but I'm not going to go into those now.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
Just in case I don't get round to doing them. So.
No, that's fair enough. So right now, when we're filming, you've got a Kickstarter going. By the time we get this out, it will be done.
Yeah.
But it's past its target.
It's double its target.
Yep.
And we're hoping to get to about 2.5 times.
Cool.
And so it's a sword and sorcery take on Ars Magica.
Perfect.
So you've got troop style play, multiple characters per player. You've got a flexible free-form magic system where players can do whatever they want with magic as long as they have the right skills. And it's set in a very sword and sorcery world. So you've got ziggurat temples, human sacrifice, slave traders, wide open deserts, strange monsters, things like that. You know, evil nobles scheming in palaces. Anyone who's read Conan will know the sort of thing I'm getting at.
Yep.
But mages the sorcerers of the title have to go out and investigate ancient ruins to find artifacts left behind by a previous civilization.
Yep.
That's the only way they can get better at magic. But it takes time to analyse these. So a sorcerer who goes out finding them can't be analysing one, and therefore doesn't get better at magic.
Okay.
So do you send your minor characters? But they're not as good as the sorcerer. So there's some sort of dynamic in there, and troop play, and there's politics, there's factions, and it's all based on the D6 system that was originally used for Star Wars.
Okay.
And obviously West End Games published as D6 Fantasy and so on.
Cool. So what's the name of that? Sorry.
Sorcerers of Urturk.
Sorcerers of Urturk.
Yeah.
And that'll be out for retail next year?
Hopefully late January, early February.
Brilliant.
If
cool.
all goes well.
And just before we go, are there any other plans for 2015 that we can pry out of you right now?
Lots and lots. We have at least 2 Advanced Fighting Fantasy books, one of which will be a Salamanist city book based on the sort of main city of Valencia. We have at least 3 Doomsday books, one of which is written, just needs laying out, which is a North York Moors book.
Yeah.
I've now myself moved to the Yorkshire Dales, so I'm going to do a Yorkshire Dales book.
Perfect.
And the bestiary will come at the end of the year with medieval style art. And there's the Sorcerer's book to come out, and then one more in our sort of children's range, which will be about playing a new knight, which again is a problem-solving type game for children 7 to 10.
Oh, brilliant. And all these products are available on your web store?
On the Arian Games web store, which is store.ariangames.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for chatting to us today.
Thank you for coming along.
My name's been Andy. We've been here at Dragonmeet 2014. If you'd like to watch any of our other videos, they'll be up in the next few weeks. Click like and subscribe, please, and thank you.
Tell people about the game. Yeah. Yes, I will do.